What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. All right, so today we have the wife's Pathfinder back in the garage, and we're going to be doing a quick little mod on this, nothing too crazy. We're going to basically installing the wind deflectors or the window deflectors for the vehicle. Now, my wife at first, when we got the car and we did the whole blackout thing where we wrapped all the chrome out, basically the chrome delete, if you want to call that. I showed her this and she didn't like them. She was not on board with it, and she's like, I don't like those things. I'm like, all right, so we left it alone. It's been probably about 2.5 years she's on the vehicle, and now she saw a picture and she's like, hey, I like these. And I said, you didn't like them at first. Well, anyways, that was a whole big thing back and forth there. But anyways, so we went ahead and ordered the Nissan original equipment ones. Now that's what we're going to be installing today. Now there are a lot of options out there, of course, especially if you go on Amazon. There's actually a good set on there. I'll put some of the links down here, but there's actually a Goodyear set on there. And they're basically just, they go inside the window channel and they glue on there, and they're actually pretty good. They look nice and flush against the car. I like the way those actually look. And there's also WeatherTech makes a set, but they only make them for the front windows. They're not available for the rear windows yet. Same thing inside the channel, which a lot of people do like that. It's more of a nice flush look. The only reason I don't like doing that, especially with this vehicle, is for the simple fact that basically the window runs on these cars are a little iffy. The last generation, there was a lot of issues with the window runs. So basically, when the window would go up at times, especially when it got cold, it would basically get the window stuck, and they had to replace window runs all the time. Something like this, if that was to happen with these, and again, I haven't had any issues with this one, or I haven't seen any issues with this model, with that issue, but I don't want to have any issues, especially when you're going into factory warranty, and I have extended warranties in the car, that anytime you take it into a shop or anything like that, or even warranty could be like, hey, is there any issues with it, or is there any modifications? Even though you say no, if a technician's work on it, they can damage it, things like that. So that is my only reasoning for going with the Nissan OE equipments that go on the outside of the windows instead of the inside ones. But again, your choice. This is just the video on the ones that go in on the outside from Nissan. So let's go ahead and get started on this install. It should be a pretty quick install, straightforward, nothing too crazy. And I'm going to show you what comes in the box and what we need to do this install. No power tools needed at this point in time. Just some alcohol and some basically masking tape for us to do this install. So let's go ahead and get started. So here's everything that comes in the packaging. You have the front deflectors and the rear deflectors, some alcohol wipes, or you want to use your own alcohol, small little square protectors. This is for the paint, some retaining clips and retainers, and then you want to use masking tape for this project as well. So we're going to start off by partially removing the weather strip. Just only this portion is what you need to remove, not the entire thing. Once you do that, clean the outside of the door trim. This is where the 3M is going to stick to, so you want to make sure it's clean if you have any debris or grease on there. After we do that, we're going to partially remove the protector from the 3M tape on the back of the deflector. Insert the bottom portion of the deflector into the triangle trim piece right there, and then just lightly press on the exposed 3M to hold the deflector in place while we do the next step. The next step is going to be just to add some masking tape right behind where the little holes are, where you see on the deflector. Just portion it right there, and then you're going to take a marker or a pen and mark where the holes are on the masking tape. Remove the deflector, then take those little plastic trim coverage pieces they gave you, pretty much just for the paint, and insert them. It should be 50-50, 50% on the outside of the trim piece and the other 50% inside the window channel. You basically peel back on the tape. You can see the mark right through the tape, so you want to pretty much portion it where the mark is in the middle of the little protector. And again, 50% on the outside, 50% on the inside of the channel. Then you can. After that, you want to grab this little clip right here, and the full piece goes on the inside, and the part with the small hole goes on the outside. Put that right over the small plastic piece we put on there, and that's why we put it on there, so it doesn't scratch the paint. And it should clip right on. After you do this, you're going to grab your window deflector and then reinsert it like we did before. The only difference we're going to be doing here is now at this point, since it's going to be permanent, we're going to make sure that you align everything properly. So to the door, the top portion of the deflector has to be completely flush to the top portion of the door. And of course, make sure you align the small holes on the clips. Now the clips can be moved after this, But once you put those little tabs in there, those little plastic tabs, it's going to be a pain to get this off. So make sure you do this right. Once you got it aligned properly, go ahead and take the little clips and insert them right through the little holes and the retainer. If for whatever reason you got to slightly move the retainer over to line it up, that's fine. Insert the one clip in there and then insert the other clip, and that's it. Next thing we're going to do is go ahead and remove the 3M protector from the tape. And then press down on the deflector to make sure it sticks on properly. Next step is go ahead and reinsert the weather channel. Now make sure this goes in properly when you're pushing it back in. There is a small channel where it actually sits in. It's not glued on, it's just held on by a small channel in there. So make sure it probably sits in there. Once you have it in there, go ahead and raise the window. Now, if for whatever reason the window comes back down on its own, that's because it's hitting something and causing a restriction and making it push back on its own. So you want to make sure that everything inside that window channel is properly seated. If it is, just go ahead and raise the window a few times up and down until it actually stays up, and then you should be good to go. Now, I fast forwarded the video for the back window because it's pretty much the same thing, except this is easier because it's one straight piece. So the same thing you did on the front window, just do on the back. And again, this is a lot easier. Okay, so it's done, and probably takes about half an hour to get them done. And just take your time with them. I'm gonna show you a mess up that I did actually when I was doing off camera the passenger side. And again, you got to make sure everything's aligned. And here's where I messed up. So if you look at this trim right here, right there in that area, I didn't get this even against the edge of the door, and you could see as it goes up, it kind of evens out, but down here it wasn't. So this tab was giving me issues. For one, putting a little push tab in there, and two, when the window was closing, I had to kind of mess around with it to get it to actually close. So just make sure you take your time when you're doing this. Make sure everything's properly aligned before you just glue it, you stick it on there. Because once you stick it on there, it is not coming off. I mean, it'll come off, but you're gonna be doing some cleaning, and then the 3M, it's hard to find that type of 3M that is good as this, and it won't basically. You'll be distorted, you'll probably crack it trying to get it off. Anyways, a whole bunch of issues come up by not taking your time and aligning it. Now, what I don't like about these is two things. One, these push tabs. I don't like the push tabs. I don't know why they had to do that. I think Nissan should have done, and now that I think about it and I've seen them, I like the way it looks. I just don't like the way it looks fully. I think Nissan should have gone with, yes, even though I said that in the video, the ones that insert in the windows. Nissan decided to go with this, but I think, again, I know why Nissan did this. Again, because the old Pathfinder had issues with the window runs. Now, the windows have a sensor in them, where if it hits a certain point and there's too much restriction or anything like that, it'll basically come back down on its own. In case a child ever puts their hand in there, or dog has his head out the window and the window was to go up, it would feel any type of restriction and then it'll drop the window down. So same thing happens here. When you put these little tabs in there, and if you don't got them on properly and you put the window run or the weather trim back in there, it will cause the window to go down. That's why when you notice what I did is every time I finished one of them, I open and close the windows a few times to make sure that everything sits in properly. Now, in case you don't or are not able to get the trim back in there, you're having a hard time getting your fingers inside of the window trim. Of course, the window's closed now, but inside of here, you could always use something like this. Make sure you have a plastic trim tool, not a metal, not a screwdriver. You don't want to screw up the weather trim, and you don't want to screw up your window. So you have something like a weather tool, like a trim tool like this. You're able to get in there and kind of push the weather trim back right up on there. That will help immensely. So just so you guys are aware. But anyways, that's what the car looks. That's my only gripe with these things. It's just those tabs, basically. That's the only thing that pretty much bothers me a little bit. Other than that, I kind of like the way everything else looks. You guys let me know what you guys think. Again, everybody's opinion. I'm all for it, and I'll see how long I could take with those little nipples, if I want to call those, sticking out of there. I might tear this whole thing off and get the ones from Amazon and go that way, unless WeatherTech comes out with a set for the rear. But that is it. That is the end of the video. If you guys did like the video, go ahead and hit the big thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys on my next video. Peace.